This conference will now be recorded.
The Town of Cottage Grove Plan Commission will hold a public meeting on Wednesday, March 24th, 2021 at 7 p.m. at the Town Hall at 4058 County Road N. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, you can also attend this meeting by GoToMeeting. We have a quorum present. The meeting was posted at the Town Hall and on the website. I'll call the meeting to order. You have the minutes of the February 24th meeting in your packet.
I have one question on it. Number 4, last line. After the date, is that supposed to be if instead of is, it is?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
That's what I thought. So
Okay, what's that?
Is it if?
Okay.
with that correction, I'll move to approve. I have seen no other items unless
Motion
somebody else
by
does.
Mule. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Myler to approve the minutes for February 24th with that one correction from is to if. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next item is public concerns. Public's opportunity to speak to the Plan Commission about any subject that is not a specific agenda item. Do we have anyone online wishing to speak under public concerns? Hearing none, we'll move on. Discuss and consider application by Carly Barnes, applicant Galerowitz Living Trust. Helen J. is the landowner to rezone approximately 3.5 acres from FP 35 to SFR 08 to increase the size of 8 existing lots on Gala Way. And who do we have speaking for the applicant or the landowner?
Hi, this is Carly Barnes.
Hi.
Robert Williamson here, representing the landowner.
All right. Tell the Plan Commission what you're trying to do.
Carly, go ahead.
The 8 homeowners on Galloway are looking to purchase the line of trees behind our properties and have them become
We lost you.
zoned to what are, so we can preserve the tree line and the reason we moved out there for the nice countryside.
Okay. So you're adding a little over 1/3 of an acre to each lot, all 8 lots?
Correct.
Exactly.
Any questions from the Plan Commission then?
I could have a couple. First of all, the open space, for lack of a better word, or
Road access. Look on this next page. No. Get access back to there.
so this property is going to be jointly owned by all of the current property owners?
No.
No,
This
each
is
homeowner would acquire the portion that's behind their land.
the land further to the east, so that they have access off of Gale Way to it.
Okay, can I speak? This is Robert Williamson.
Okay,
Okay, what it is there are 8 homeowners along there. If you start at the top, you see one house, and then that space in between, which the red line is there, that's an access into the rest of the land. That isn't going to be sold. It's a little hard to understand here with that red line all around. It's actually each each home where they're divided, the line would go straight back. And it's just making it more of a rectangle lot. So they've already got access. They don't need access to the road. It's attaching to the land, to their property that already has access. Just enlarging the lot, adding the woods that is behind them. Does that make sense?
I think so.
Okay, yeah, I can explain anything else you'd like, but
We're going to have 8 CSMs to approve at some point.
It's gonna be 2 CSMs.
2,
Yeah.
4 each.
Trying to-
One is it for each.
That's the maximum you can have on a CSM, isn't it?
Yeah,
But 4 lots on one CSM.
Okay, so each house is gonna join their land, they'll move their surveys, their property lines and everything.
To the east to
To the east.
include that 0.37 acres that they're buying.
So how will that look on record? I mean, when you say there's gonna be 2 CSMs, I was assuming that this SFR 8 would then be divided up into 8 lots.
it'll look just like you got that page there. So
Correct.
it'll Just like that,
Okay,
with that middle piece still attached to the rest of the land so that there's.
For the road access.
okay, so next question. What is the current zoning of the houses right now? They are
They're SFR 1.
One.
Yeah,
SFR 1? So that'll change, correct?
or they're the same as whatever they're going to.
Okay.
SFR.
Oh, wait.
Yeah,
So they didn't go to like an RR.
no, they're not, they're still only gonna be,
They're under an acre after everything's all said and done.
still
Okay,
gonna be 8/10 of an acre, more or less.
How much land will be left over after they remove the 3.5 acres?
I'm sorry it's actually about 2.57, maybe 3 acres. No, about 3 acres. It's less than 3.5. It's 3 acres. The remaining land will be about 37.5 acres.
Okay,
So the remaining land would stay SP, what is it, SP 35?
FP 35.
and the reason for my question was because I heard talk in the past about wanting to sell a lot on that land. Is that correct?
That
So
is
you could-
correct.
Okay, so you need so many acres in order to do that.
Is there a,
There is over 35 acres that will be remaining.
is there a building right on that?
I believe.
There is not a building right on that.
Get what?
There is not a current building right on that, but last night, the Dane County Zoning Committee approved the one-on-one transfer, so it is possible to put a building site on the remaining land.
Approves our land use amendment. But we have to transfer one in to build any additional homes.
So I have a question on this schematic that you have up there. The lot creates a 0.8 acres and then 0.37 below it. Is the 0.37 what's being added on? And it will
Correct.
become 0.8?
0.8 is what it'll end up being with that 0.37 added to that existing lot.
That's what I
Yes.
thought.
Well, okay, so I did come up with 2.96 acres.
Right,
Wait.
with just under 3.
Yeah, it's actually a little bit less than that because you got 0.35 acres on lot 1.
Well, it's a little under 3 anyway.
Well, do they have to, you don't have to do anything for the easement, the 66 foot, right?
He's not selling that.
Okay, but he doesn't have to, that doesn't fall into the 35 acre deal.
It's part of his property.
Okay,
It remains part of his property so that he has the access.
right.
And all 8 homeowners are buying their 0.37 acres.
To my knowledge, there may be one that is not, but I can't say yes or no.
Okay,
But there are 7 that are confirmed and
Okay.
1 possibility.
so you have to know that before we do the CSM.
Right, well, that'd be the next step. So I mean, if this is approved or whatever, then yeah, I guess, what would we need to do?
Other question?
Even if that person objects, couldn't a neighbor buy that new parcel to hook onto theirs?
It'd be a rezone.
No.
It's above, it's the top one.
It's the one
that is
that's
vacant.
north of the
Oh,
roadway, I think. It's the one that may not be interested in buying, so
What happens if he doesn't buy?
it would stay part of the farm then.
And that's why you mentioned they have to know what's gonna happen before they do the,
They would have to know before the rezone gets finalized, because
Yeah.
that's not gonna, I mean, the CSM will divide it, but they're not gonna rezone that part.
It'll have to come off.
Yeah.
Right, they'll have to come back to the town board at least and have it
Well, unless
more
you were-
accurately described, because it'll change what we approve.
If you were okay with it either way, but I mean, before the county finally approves it, they're gonna have to know
Have to know.
what the county is finally approving.
Even if the person at 3830 chooses not to purchase the land behind their land,
Mm-hmm.
what would it harm to have that section of land be an island that's rezoned to the rest of the lots so that a future homeowner could buy? Because his hesitancy in purchasing the land is he's anticipating moving in the next 2 to 5 years. So he doesn't feel like it's of benefit for him to purchase the back tree line. But if that were to be rezoned to what all the other lots are being rezoned, wouldn't that make it more possible for a future homeowner to buy it from Robert?
Someone might want to try and put a house on it.
Oh,
That wouldn't be our,
Plus, aren't we
No,
talking,
plus the fact I don't think it's big enough.
aren't we talking about 3830? Yeah, wouldn't attach to any of the other ones anyway, because there's a road in.
Right, it's the top lot number 4, way on the north end, top of the page. I mean, if this is holding things up, we don't have a definitive answer from him, we'll just drop it off. If that, we'll just take that lot 4 off, and it'll just be the 7. That's fine with us, the landowner.
yeah.
so I was just gonna say it. You don't see it now, but it could have the potential for being landlocked. Am I correct?
No, because it's attached to that 66-foot right-of-way coming in.
Because Williamson would still own it. Where would,
I was wondering if all the land got sold, all the names changed, and that was just one island.
But yeah, you can't rezone it, because to sit by itself, rezoning it would indicate that it had a right to build a house, and it doesn't.
it doesn't.
Yeah,
Because if you just drop it off, it'll just have this little flag
yeah.
sticking off with the rest of that big parcel on the 37 acres.
Right, I mean, that's the perfect one to drop out. We want all the other 7 because they're continuous.
Yeah.
This one, there's that divide there anyway, so it's fine. We don't care if the person drops out. If that's fine. The other 7 people have been very proactive, very responsive, and really reached out to us wanting to do this, and we agreed with them. So we're all in agreement to do this. And if this one person is somewhat holding us up because he said he was going to be in and he wasn't, and he was, and whatever, my concern is I don't want to hold this up for these 7 people for one person that can't make up his mind.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we can easily go back to the, I have this certified survey map drawn with that out of there. That's perfectly fine with me.
The homeowner at 3830 has it in his mind he's going to be able to buy the easement. Is that a possibility for him? I'm hearing pretty clearly from him that he's not interested in the back lot, but he was saying to me last I spoke with him, he was interested in talking with Robert about a deal which they've yet to come to for the easement. Is he allowed to purchase that? Because it sounded like in your conversation that needed to be maintained as an access point.
To that land to the east that Galera
Okay.
Woods still own.
Well, the question is, does that have to remain?
With the farm? As opposed to what?
Buying a
As
parcel.
opposed, if the lot number 3830, if he were to want to buy the easement, the 66 feet stretch from the Gala Way back to the end of his land, right there, yeah, right where you have the cursor. Is that possible to sell that to him? He has somewhat said and told other people, he has never, I've talked to him and he's never really come out and told me that he wanted it at all. I said we could talk about it, but I don't want to mess up the other 7 people for that. If he wants to approach us later, he can do that. Right now, I mean, that's not in the cards at all.
Galerowood still owns the land to the north. There's access to Galloway up there.
Right, and we own that all the way from the top, all the way to Vilas Hope Road. So there really is no need, there's not necessarily a need to have access there, because honestly, when you get back to the end of the lot line, it's woods, and for us to get back to the eastern section, we'd have to cut through the woods, where if we went north, we're right on the land, and we could just put a culvert in and be able to get in. So
On the corner.
it is an access, but it's really not as easy to access as north of there.
Well, I guess in my opinion, one thing I would keep in mind is the fact that if you're going to sell that eastern property, you have a buyer who may, what I'm not hearing but hearing is the fact you have a buyer, potential buyer for that property who wants to stick a house back in there somewhere. Keep in mind that we have a 2-acre requirement is, as far as that goes, and that existing access 66 footer already takes up over a half an acre. So you're only going to have an acre and a half once you get back into the farmland at some point to be able to build on. And you don't want to go ahead and use all your 2 acres on a driveway.
It's not my understanding that anybody wants to build back there
I think
behind the 3830.
up here along Galloway.
That's where, right, that's probably where someone would want to build along Gala Way so that they have short access to Gala Way. I doubt, from being on the property east there, it's a kind of a slope, it's cornfield. I doubt very much if anybody would ever want to build there, because I mean, they'd have to put a long driveway in. I mean, it's not a plan at all for us to try to sell that to somebody to build a house on. I guess somebody could if they wanted to, but if they were so inclined to do it, I don't know.
Then the rest of the land east of the woods and to the south of the woods would have to stay with that property.
That is the plan right now. Yes, it's going to.
So if that 66 feet goes away, none of that can be sold separately.
Because it wouldn't have access.
Wouldn't have access.
Correct.
Can't be landlocked.
You could
Well,
put-
not necessarily. Why would it, if we move the access to the north, it's the same thing, isn't it? The same as it is now.
I think the future intention for the land behind the 3830 would be if, in the next 2 to 5 years, when that homeowner is retiring and planning to sell, as he has indicated, then that would offer Robert or the future landowner the ability to say, hey, you can buy these trees behind you too. I guess I'm not understanding the concern about somebody building a home behind 3830.
We've seen some pretty crazy things that people have done. And
I would
definitely never say never.
I think that's a good thing to live by. I guess what I'm hearing from you guys is like we want to just not include that land behind the 3830. Like we could include the easement in between there to rezone. So if he wanted to buy it, but that, and then there would still allow for that land to the other side of 3830 to, like Robert said, do a culvert, do some sort of access there if there was going to be someone buying that piece of land.
But again, this is all in the future. What we're talking about now, this proposal is for the 7 homeowners south of that access. That's all we're talking about. This number 8 guy apparently doesn't want the woods behind him. That's fine. He's out. We have talked a little bit, very preliminary. Part of it is, can we even sell it to him? We don't know. We don't know if we want to sell it to him. We said we would consider it, but that's down the road. And by that, I mean, it can be 2 to 5 years. It can be a non-issue if we sell the rest of the property. So really, I don't think we need to concern ourselves with that 66 feet right now by any means. It's a non-issue. I would think.
I guess the homeowners, like the 7 of us, the way they've talked about it is the concept of the easement, having that be rezoned and being attached to the 3830 would make it so that if when Robert sells the land, anybody who wants to gain access to it would not be going in between, the 2 houses there. They would have to create access further down the road. But again, with this guy at 3830 and him being so back and forth, I think Robert would agree that we're willing to change the line to cut off at whatever point you guys say is reasonable and looking forward to the future makes sense, and adjust the line wherever you think makes sense.
Okay, why was that easement put there in the first place? Any particular reason?
I have no idea.
Before my time.
It was from, it was platted long back in the 70s.
Potential future access.
Well,
It's my understanding that it exists because that 3830 was not a part of the original development of the Gala Heights.
That's
So
correct.
when that got built, it kind of got built over so that there could still be access to the easement. But it's to my knowledge of the years of being here, I've not seen that easement be used for any of the farming purposes behind the land. They access on the corner of Gala and Vilas or somewhere back. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they're not using that easement to access farming.
Yeah, the first 7 houses, or at least a few of them, were built 70s, 80s, whatever. That lot number, the 3830 or the northern lot, that was my sister-in-law, one of the owners of all of this land, who built a house there originally. They don't live there now. They live down at the bottom of Gala Way.
Right.
They live, down there. So I think when they built this house it was probably in the sometime, when do you think it was, like in the 90s? I'm not sure when it was built, but it was sometime after. And I think Mr. Glarowitz, my father-in-law, decided to probably put that access point in there just to keep it away for Karen to have a little space. I'm not sure why either. That has never been used as an access for it to happen. Off of Gale Way, it's a very steep slope. You couldn't really drive a tractor with a wagon down there. I think you end up with it jackknifing almost. It's too sloped. It could be changed so you could, but it's not accessible. And then you'd run into the woods in the back. So it's there, but it doesn't really serve a purpose. I do understand it could at some point in time. And again, for this purpose, that's another discussion down the road with this homeowner who knows if it'll ever happen. So I guess that's what I'm saying.
We're looking at the rezone map. Is that a building in the rear of?
Yes, that's a shed that is about 3 feet over the line, which he does know about. We talked about it. He says it's on like logs or something, it can be pushed off fairly easily.
Okay,
It's something that we haven't, pushed the fact that, get it off of there or anything. It's
Right.
not causing anybody any harm, so.
okay.
I think one thing that seems to need to be clarified is that neither this back potential add-on to 3830 or the easement add-on can be rezoned on their own. The only way they could be rezoned is if they were actually attached to another SFR 08. So you couldn't just rezone this easement in thoughts that someday he might want it. It wouldn't make sense to do that now. I thought maybe that was what they were currently
No.
might be getting at, but you can't.
That was, thank you for explaining that.
I think we just want to do the 7 south of 3830, starting at 3820, those 7 lots for 0.37 acres roughly for each of them,
Correct.
and forget the one at the top of the north.
Yes, that'd be perfect.
I agree.
Any other questions?
No, sir.
Do we want to give them a timetable, like got to decide in a week or just do it? The 3830 guy.
You'll have to know before they go to the county.
I mean, I
Well,
would say,
again,
The
I
reason
would
I'm
I know,
Change
I'm
your
sorry, I would say as the landowners, we do not want to sell it to him. Let's just cut and dry and be done with it. We don't want to hold this up any longer for these people.
Yeah,
So it's just, he's never come to us as the homeowner, or as the landowner and said, yes, I want to do this.
buy it.
So
Too bad,
I
so
just want to
sad.
drop him.
yes, exactly.
No, I
So
mean, I
sad.
don't mean, he can come back at some point in time and try to do something or not. He had ample time. We've been talking about this since probably
Last year.
April of last year. So, I mean, this has been an ongoing thing for some time. He has ample opportunity to have done things and he's not. So I can't feel sorry for him.
Do we have a motion?
I'd move approval of the application, the modified application for the 7 lots beginning at 3820 Gala going south and excluding the lot number 4 at behind 3830 as in the application.
Andrews made a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Myler to approve the rezone from 3820 to the south through 3784, those 7 lots, not including 3830 in the rezone to SFR 08.
I have an addition. And then the applicant to provide us with the corrected rezone map as well as,
We'll do the CSM.
well, I was just gonna say is because town board's gonna be meeting here before they get us a CSM, so.
Could they get us the rezone map before the April 5th meeting?
Oh, okay.
You need an updated map from our land surveyor indicating what you guys just said, the lines.
Yeah,
Yes,
Yes, I can ask him for that.
prior to April
So
20.
I'd like to have it by next Thursday, the 1st, April 1st.
April 1st. It's okay for it to be a preliminary map. He just has to submit what he has to submit for your approval.
yeah.
Okay, yes, I will absolutely call him tomorrow and request that do I submit it to Kim?
Yes,
Yep, I will have him email Kim the updated map with the 7 lots we decided on. You
Okay.
guys decided on.
right.
Okay.
Any other discussion on the motion?
No, sir.
Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. So it'll be on the town board for April 4th for their action.
Thank you very much. Appreciate all your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item, discuss and consider a request for change in the future land use map from Woody and Sons Incorporated, request that the wood piece east of the current neighborhood development area south of Hope Road be redesignated from agricultural preservation to neighborhood development. I would make a motion that we refer this to the comprehensive plan rewrite that we're working on. Motion by Hampton, second by Mule, to refer back to the comp plan. Any questions on that motion?
So you're gonna forward it to the amendment then? Is that what you're saying? Because I thought you were supposed to tonight decide if you even want to pursue it.
We can talk about it if they want to pursue it when we're doing the comp plan amendment.
So whenever the next meeting that you actually have, Mark, is that what you mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So what is this, with the information that we got tonight? What does that mean for that chunk of land? Anything or?
Nothing. Because if it was neighborhood development, they could transfer, they could buy one and transfer it in.
Okay, so that area can still remain neighborhood development?
It is.
It still is,
It is.
other than that hillside, that wooded piece.
It was, going back to that conservation easement, they bought a lot of the land. Was that all to the north?
Yes.
They bought nothing to the south?
Except for the pond. Pond is in there.
Yeah.
The siltation pond
On this,
next to the development. That's the 14.7 acres
Yeah.
on there.
okay, so that's why I'm asking, can it even be, can they even build there on that land? Regardless, even if they get a split?
In the neighborhood development, yes, because it wasn't part of the wetland reserve conservation easement.
That land wasn't.
That land was not.
Okay. Because that was what I was thinking, even if it was, would that null and void to have the neighborhood development in there? But if it wasn't part of that purchase or part of that this easement.
No, it wasn't. It was everything north of Hope Road. I'll be your other maps.
Well, yeah, the copies show everything north.
Yeah,
Okay, that was it.
Yeah.
so there was a motion as second to refer back to the comp plan rewrite.
Yes.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Next item.
So moved.
Motion by Anders for adjournment. Is there a second?
1 second.
Second by Iclough. Non-debatable. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Yes.
Sign in.
Yeah.
Real quick question. In regard to the Whitty property.
No, I haven't.
There was a possibility of it.
Huh.